Welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. I'm Larry.
And I'm Vince,
Welcome to the show.
where we talk all things cryptid,
Sasquatch,
aliens,
hauntings.
and anything paranormal you would like to share with us.
You can reach us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
So settle in, open your mind, and enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. We're here doing it once again. Vince, give me a shout out.
Hey everybody, welcome back. No, just a little inside joke here. We were talking off mic and we got way off subject, and
Yeah, we did.
it just turns into like a roast.
It is, but we roast ourselves, just so you know. You know,
we
it's,
do. And those closest to us.
yeah, it's a good time. We wish you could join. Maybe they should join us.
Yeah, they should. They should come and join us.
I think we should do another podcast like that.
Yeah.
But
It starts off as a podcast and ends up as two drunk guys in the bar talking smack.
that's right. But on this podcast, we're going to talk about Sasquatch once again.
Right. Now, we're going to revisit. My brother was telling me about a documentary. He watched it, and I haven't seen this one yet, but I've seen a similar one. He was talking about the pheromones.
Right. I was talking about, I'm sorry, I'm getting the mix right. So I was telling them earlier in the day I was watching, of course, a YouTube video, because YouTube, you have good content. And it was from Small Town Monsters. It was in Utah, and it was, I think it was called the Sasquatch Valley. And they went through Moab, Utah, and up to a forest area. And then they started their expedition, right? And of course, they heard some sounds, which me and my brother hear sounds, so I'm not going to say they're lying, because when we go out there, we hear sounds. But I noticed one thing. They were saying, well, let's try and draw the Squatch in closer. They used what was called Squatch pheromone, right? Kind of like, male, female hormones. The male smells it, he comes in, and blah, 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 that kind of science. But I noticed on the jar it said Sasquatch hormones.
Yeah. And that's what we had a problem with. We're like, wait a minute. We don't have a Sasquatch in captivity. How do they know what Sasquatch pheromones, what they smell like, what they contain? Now, they did a similar thing on Expedition Bigfoot, where they released the ape pheromones with the drone.
Right. But they said ape pheromone.
Right. They said ape. Now, and our problem was labeling it Bigfoot pheromones, because, where do they get it? Come on. Let's be honest here. It's little things like that you notice, and it kind of discredits the whole community.
It does. And it's like you put these little subtle subconscious signs or words in there that if you don't look close or you haven't watched it 20 times, you won't catch.
Right.
Because if you watch it one time through, you're like, oh, this was great. But subconsciously, they're feeding you little words and suggestions so that you're like, oh, yeah, that is Sasquatch pheromone. But like I said, we don't know. No one has a Sasquatch.
And that leads to another thing I don't like. There's a lot of good documentaries, but they kind of groom the people, because like the new sightings and stuff, you hear them talk about their sightings and they're groomed to use certain keywords, describe the beast in certain ways.
Right.
And like they'll mention the gait. I mean, they're groomed, because Sasquatch gait, talks about how they walk. But if they weren't watching and doing research, they would just say, oh, his stride or the way he was walking.
Right. And I think we talked about one of these off camera.
Right.
And let's share with them what it is so that they can make a decision for themselves. So my brother's referencing a video that was taken. Was it in Russia?
Right, Russia. I believe, Russia.
In Russia, and it's posted on one of the Bigfoot sites, the research sites. So this creature, why don't you tell them what it is?
Well, It's supposedly in the video. It's a father and a son. They're out on a hunting trip. It looks like springtime in Russia because they're in the forest. Everything's green, and you could hear them both. They kind of get startled, and they're filming this ape-like creature, and it's moving through the forest, moving tree to tree, but it's hopping. Now the creature looks big. You can't really get a scale, but just going by what the trees look like, and a full-grown pine tree, they get pretty big, and just using that to gauge it looks
Right.
like a big creature, but it's hopping sideways. And we're talking, I don't think I've ever heard any encounter of a Bigfoot displaying that kind of activity.
No, and you're right. And we did talk about that. I mean, and I pointed out to my brother that, we're used to hearing about when people track them, kind of like a bear, foot over foot, but the strides are so long. It can't be a bear where, as a bear is short and husky, it steps in its own steps.
Right.
But these strides are like sometimes, some have been 5 feet strides. Now that's like your stride is like they say your arms bend down and touch the floor, and that's your wingspan. So your legs stride. So 5 feet, that means that creature's got to be at least 8 to 10 feet to step.
Right.
That big. And that's just it's crazy. But like we were talking about the pheromones and all that, I don't know.
Right. And we talked about this too, just when we got on the pheromone subject, like all these conferences where they have these speakers come in and they're so-called Bigfoots experts. How did they become an expert? A lot of these people, they've done some good research. They have good theories, but a lot of these people never even had a sighting.
And that's, let me just bring this man back into the picture. That's one thing that David Pilates in his Bigfoot School series he's got going on YouTube has stated, and he said, he uses himself as an example, and he says, I do this, but I study the subject and I study it intently, but I can't tell you I've ever seen one. So my witnessing to you as a sighter, one who's seen one, I can't do that. I can just go on my research and what's out there theoretically.
Right. But these guys bill themselves as a Bigfoot expert where, I mean, to me, an expert, you've lived amongst them, you've studied them.
Well, let's mention
Maybe they're the
Jane
ones getting,
Goodall again.
Yeah, maybe they're the ones getting the pheromones. They're milking the Sasquatch.
Right. I mean, we talked about Jane Goodall, how, her career was her whole lifespan was learning how to acclimate and integrate with the gorillas
Right.
that she discovered in the mountains. And she took her whole 20 years to do that.
Yeah.
Her research is invaluable. So for someone to say they're a Squatch expert, did you do the same?
Right. No, I don't think so.
You saw him twice and now you're an expert.
And even people who have had sightings, more than one sighting is
Right.
extremely rare, extremely.
And we're not saying we're experts, but we're just pointing out the fact that everyone's out there saying, I'm an expert.
Right.
And even some of these shows that have credible witnesses, we give you that. That's what we want to hear, because we have credible witnesses that call in and talk to us.
Right. Right.
So it's more of that and less of the theory.
Right. And even when, like we're out in the mountains, we have our own experience. We hear something's thrown at us.
Right.
We can't say 100% that was a Sasquatch.
No.
But, we try to figure out, debunk, and, a lot of times the signs point to that, but still we cannot say without the shadow of a doubt.
But we do ask the one question. We say, did you hear that? Yeah, I
Right.
did. And what do you think it was?
Right.
And then we deduct the reasoning from there, saying, okay, like when we heard the bottle, the doop, 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 that was a bottle.
Right.
We said, okay, it's just me and you back here, and we know that. Who or what type of animal in this forest can throw a bottle?
And that far, because it sounded like it came from the top of the ridge.
So, and that's how we began deducting. Well, bears can't do it, coyotes can't do it, mountain lions can't do it, deer can't do it, elk can't do it.
The only animal that could probably really even pick up a bottle might be a squirrel. but to throw it, I don't think so.
Not a squirrel cannot pick up a regular beer bottle,
Well, it depends on how thirsty he is.
or how much cocaine they've done, like Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, no, but a squirrel could at least move it,
That's what I'm saying.
but not
But-
not like what we.
But
heard.
hold on. What we heard was not just a move. You know when a bottle rolls on gravel, you hear it. But what we heard was a bottle thrown in such a manner that it skipped like a rock because it made that skip sound like doop, doop, doop.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't want to brag here, but we go out and we hear a lot of stuff.
We do.
It seems like we catch more activity than a lot of these documentaries.
I mean, but Vince, we go where we don't have cell service.
Right.
We go in there. We're not 20 miles in there because we don't have to be because we're already up in the mountains, and we go to places that aren't really heavily trafficked.
Right, right. What I'm saying is, if we had better equipment, we could probably put out better documentaries.
Well, anyone want to donate?
Right?
Anyway, no,
Don't say that they'll send us the Polaroid cameras,
right.
and the old tape recorders. We have to
No,
push play and record.
that's why I told you. I said me and you should really take like my GoPro and maybe my phone and we'll shoot some footage and do our own documentary, and I think we could do it.
Yeah, but
You guys heard that first here.
right. But before we do that, we need to gather some evidence of our own.
Well, we could do an ad or a town hall.
Well, I have those recordings still that I recorded that first night, and
Yeah.
then the week after when we went and we heard the tree snap and
I know, but if we're going to go up to the Jemez, it wouldn't take much to do a little town hall in Jemez Springs
right.
and put it out in the paper statewide saying we're going to have this little shindig, and if anyone has a story, come tell it.
Right, and I believe they will come out because we went to the Bigfoot Festival.
We did. The first one held out there.
And it's a shame that they only had the one.
I know, Bigfoot Blues and Brews.
Yeah, but they had a good turnout.
And it was. And I really thought they would have done a second year, but they didn't. And I don't know.
They did good. The food sold out. I mean, they had a good turnout. I don't know
It
why they didn't do
was.
another one.
There were good stories there, good turnout. And I did think it was going to go another year, but for some reason it didn't. So I think we should revive it.
Right. Well, one of the organizers was the professor from the UNM Gallup campus, and he caught a lot of fire for taking his class on an expedition.
He did, and we talked about that. But hey, what can you do,
Yep.
I know. Anyway, back to the topic of Sasquatch. We were talking about the pheromones, and on the flip side, I'm thinking, what if they do hang pheromones throughout the forest? Do you think it would really attract something?
If it does, it might be just out of curiosity, maybe not like a pheromone's really supposed to work.
Well, they
like to get their sex drive going, or
that's what they say. It attracts them because it's like a female or a male.
right. But I mean, it's an ape. We don't know enough about the Sasquatch to know what it really is, and to have ape pheromones, that's a whole different species. I mean, they could put ape pheromones in the city and it would do nothing for us. We'd
Right.
just be like, what the hell is that?
And you're like, that. What is that?
And that's why I say if it did draw them in, it'd be more curiosity rather than to get them going,
Well, and that's where I'm getting at when they had the little canister that said Squatch pheromones.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Are they truly Squatch pheromones? But like you just said, even in the forest, if there's no apes, it's not going to do anything.
Right. And like they did that on Expedition Bigfoot with the drones. They had a call or something, but I don't believe they had the results that they wanted for spraying as much as they did.
Right.
Because it was a different species,
Right. Let me ask you this. Since they put out Sasquatch pheromone, ape pheromone, and they really don't get a reaction, what if they hung human pheromone?
Like a human female.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but if I was in the forest and I smelled, I don't know what human pheromones would smell like. Maybe perfume and margaritas. I'd be, oh,
No. Hey, don't take a bath in 2 days. Don't put on deodorant and lift up your arm.
I do that all the time.
That's human pheromone. But have we done that? Maybe they don't attract to that. Maybe they attract to, because everyone says, oh, they're so human. Maybe they attract to our pheromone. That's why in cultures, especially Native American, they stole the women.
Right.
The pheromone attracted them, and they're like, I got to have this little squaw.
Right. Now, was it the pheromone or the fry bread?
Damn it.
Yeah.
You hit the sweet spot.
But see, there we go again with a different species, because they say
Right.
that they're so human-like that maybe a human pheromone would attract them. But
That's-
our DNA is 99% similar to chimps.
Right.
But would a chimp pheromone do anything for us? Probably not.
But here's what I'm saying. Even though they're like, it's 99, I'm like, but it's not 100%. Even that 1% matters. It does.
Right. And that's why I'm saying maybe a human pheromone wouldn't attract a Squatch either.
But if they're 99.9, I think a human pheromone would.
Well, see, that's just it. We don't know enough about
That's
them.
why I said, why do you think I'm suggesting it? I'm saying-
And I don't think they're that close to human, because I want to say they're smarter because they stay away from us.
Well, I know people are going to say, you're stupid. That's a stupid idea. I'm like, was it? When they put their Sasquatch or ape pheromones up there, was it that stupid? No, because in your mind, you're thinking it's an ape because they say it's an ape. What if it tends to be more on the human side? That would draw it in.
Or what if these people are right? They say it's connected with aliens, it's interdimensional,
Right.
something totally different.
But my theory is we tried that. Let's try the opposite, the male side.
Right.
And if it brings it in, holy shit, yeah, okay. If it don't, all right, then alien.
And if all else fails, burn a little bit of chokeweed.
Chokeweed, dude. Yeah.
Because you know what?
Well, you know what? Burn some chokeweed before you listen to this.
Yeah. No, but you know what? Pheromones, I don't know how, you might have to have a more sensitive smell.
Right.
But that chokeweed, you could be nose blind and you could still smell that from miles away.
Yeah, you can. Chokeweed, you can.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I got to give them kudos for trying, but our problem with that was we want, like the alcohol industry, truth in labeling. Right? Or now
and
the
even they
cannabis
lie.
industry,
Even they lie.
Yeah.
But you know what? I do think about that. I'm like, we're always trying this way, right? What would it hurt to try going the other way? Because I'm like, and I'll take it even as far as, because you said you feel that your encounter happened because you had your young girls around you.
Right.
What if we even did like that scent? I'm saying we start with human adults, and let's start using the younger scent. See if that's what truly draws them in.
Okay, or else here's another idea. Just throwing ideas out there. How about dog? Because when you smell them, what do they smell like?
Wet dog.
There you
Well,
go.
the whiff that came through our camp, and it was brief, like passing through.
Yeah.
It was real quick, like, because you're like, oh, you smell that? I'm like, smell what? And then like 2 seconds later, I was like, oh, yeah, I got that.
But I've heard other people, when they smell it, some people say, oh, rotting flesh, this and that, but a lot of them say wet dog.
It smelled like a stinky dog to me.
Yeah.
Like stink.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just stink, motherfucker. Take
Yeah,
a bath.
and it could all depend, like in the Jemez, there's a lot of rivers, there's water everywhere.
There's water, yeah.
So they could be in the water, so where they don't smell like the rotted meat, but wet dog.
Right? And that's what it smelled. It smelled like wet dog.
Yeah.
It did. But yet, we had no dogs up there.
Right. Oh, you haven't seen my ex-wife, but
Well,
no, just kidding.
we'll stay silent.
Yeah, but no, just different things to try.
Right? No, I get it.
But I think you're right about the kids with me. Now, was it the pheromone or was it just the sound of them? Because you know how kids, they're always laughing and, they laugh too loud and whatever.
Okay.
It could have been curiosity that brought them in when they heard the girls.
Well, then here you go again. I suggested the scent. you were there and you're like, maybe it was this. So that's another experiment that could go down the chain.
Right.
You-
Now, the reason I offered up that idea was I heard Cliff Barackman talking about the Sasquatch sense of smell.
Right.
Now, it's all theory, but he's got a lot of, him and Dr. Maldrum, they got a lot of knowledge with not only Sasquatch, but just animals in general.
Right.
So they were talking about, and we've talked about this too, like maybe if you have a gun, maybe the Sasquatch could smell the gunpowder, they stay away.
Yeah, we've said
Their
that.
theory is that the Sasquatch, they probably have a better sense of smell than us as humans,
I'm sure.
but not as good as we think, like a dog or a bear.
Right.
Because a dog and a bear have the longer snouts, so they have more sensors, which allow them to have a more sensitive smell.
Of
And
course.
Sasquatch don't have that. They have
Flat nose.
flat
like us.
noses, so
Flat and wide from
right.
what we have.
So theirs might be better than ours, but maybe not as good as like the other animals in the forest.
And I do think even though they have a smaller nose, it's wider. Maybe that allows for.
Right, but nothing like a dog's.
No,
scent
no,
or-
no.
But then again, that might be where their sight makes up.
But on the other defense, I'm not saying that they should have a smell like a dog. When I say we use these tests as male, female, because if we could smell it, they can.
Right.
You know, as we say in Spanish, "Ah, cabrón, tus sobajos." I smell your underarms because you haven't bathed in 2 days.
Yep.
If I could smell it and their smells as good as ours, or I think it has to be a little bit better
Right.
because they're in that environment.
Right.
And let's say they could do 200 feet. 200 feet, like from tree, that comes down and they smell it, they're like, ah.
Right. But I think it's like any other creature. If you could get downwind, they're not going to smell you. Or.
That's just,
But
I don't care. Yeah, you're right.
But
That's
I
true.
think all their senses make up for the other shortcomings. Like, I'm sure they do have good sense of smell,
I'm sure.
but I'm sure a lot of it is their vision too, especially at night.
No. Well, that's a good theory that I buy into because people say they're here at night. I saw them and they're gone. I mean, we'd stumble and fall because especially in that darkness, they have to be able to penetrate and visually see the blue spectrum.
Right.
And I believe they do.
Right. And I don't know. The stories you hear about Sasquatch coming into camp, it's usually late at night when the fire dies down. And if you have sensitive night vision, a roaring fire is going to hurt your eyes.
Yeah, you're going to be like, whoa. what
Just
is
like I watch a show about Navy SEALs, and one of their tactics, they're trying to sneak by another attack force, and they had their night vision, so they deployed flares, and that temporarily blinded them, so they were able to sneak by.
it? Right.
So same principle,
It is.
they have great vision as long as there's not too much light.
Maybe we need to stop burning them fucking infernos. Because we do. We burn infernos.
Yeah, we do, but most of it's because it's always freaking cold up there, even in the middle of the summer.
No shit. It does get cold.
Yeah. Well, and we've always talked about it, and others have said it, going dark is the best.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we've done that. I mean, we've done that. Go back to our late night with Larry. We did several dark.
Or that day we took our brother out there, we were totally dark. We had a lantern,
Yes.
but it was turned off. And when that hit the truck, we were totally dark.
Yeah, we were podcasting totally in the dark, but that was so cool.
Yeah, that was a good trip.
That was a
But
good
most
trip.
of the trips are good, but I think that's the closest they've ever came.
I think that was a very good trip because we took our older brother and he was probably saying, I'm going to go hang out with them. They love their little excursions. But it was cool that he had his experience.
Yeah, and on the way back, he was pretty quiet because I think he got something he didn't expect.
He was. He didn't see.
I'm sure his mind was open to, there's always a possibility.
No, but I think he was thinking a lot because it was crazy. We're all in the truck and then just pow, 3 of us, the only 3 out there in the truck podcasting and in the darkness, and then my truck just went like just bumped it. We went out there, we saw what we saw, and he was quiet
Yeah.
all night.
Yep. There was a handprint on the bed of the truck.
And we had a double whammy. He got to see an object in the sky, zoom, zigzag, and zoom off. And I said, now tell me what kind of plane could do that? What satellite does that? What star does that? No. Everything we do has to have control and form.
Right.
Satellites going around the earth, whatever we do. Our technology can't do a 5G, zigzag, 2, 3Gs, 5G, and then zoom off.
That we know of.
That we know of. And I say 5G because it happened like that. And gone. And I'm like,
Yeah. Now, have you seen those memes like on social media? It says something and it says, change my mind. It has them sitting there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to make one and it says, Bigfoot is not interdimensional.
Change
my mind.
Right. No, we've talked about this too, but I do believe this creature is flesh and blood it's a terrestrial creature. I don't believe it's extraterrestrial. I believe it's terrestrial. One of the things that I was watching earlier and they were discussing, and I tend to agree with them, is everyone says if there's such thing as a Sasquatch, where's the bones, where's the hair, where's the flesh, where's the skin, where is it? He brought up a good point, and he said, look, we've been asking this same question for thousands of years because there was once a creature, the tallest ape that roamed the planet called Gigantopithecus. And he said they were interacting with early humanoids at that time, which are early humans, and they roamed the earth with all the other creatures, but they were the king. They were the King Kong of that era. And we know that because we found several bones. Not many, several. But yet there were many of them out there. So then if we can't find their bones, we're lucky to find the ones we found. And in China, what makes you think that we're going to find their bones?
Right.
The only reason we find human bones is because we set them in set places where we could dig them up, where we preserve them. For what reason?
Right.
I don't know.
And you know as well as I do, out in the forest, the forest will reclaim a body quick. And this is just my theory that this has something to do with it. Like if a bear dies or a deer, there's going to be almost nothing left in a year.
No, and
But
I agree.
Humans, on the other hand, we eat so much preservatives, it's harder for nature to break us down.
It is. But here's the other thing, too. Put our bones in the ground, stop. Don't embalm us, and watch how quick. They dig people up after 40 years because they've been embalmed, and they're still bone and everything. I'm like, why are you preserving that?
Right.
Why? Let the earth take it back. If you bury a person 10 years later, you're not going to find that person.
Especially if that person's in contact with the dirt.
Right. It's gone.
Yeah. Now, I've thought about this, and, when my time comes, I'm not sure if I want to be cremated because, I mean, let's be honest. Now this is just me. You're wasting property by getting a burial plot.
You are.
Real estate. But I don't know if I want to be cremated, or you could tie me to the bumper and just drag me around till there's nothing left, like on that vacation movie, The Dog.
The choice is his. He's giving you also the choice as well. I know what I want to happen to me. You guys watch Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke, all right?
There you go.
I'm just kidding.
And the funny thing is, if somebody smokes you, they won't have to add nothing to it.
Oh. Cut that out, please.
Yep.
Anyway, tonight that's what we wanted to share with you. You guys have some thoughts, some feedback, or suggestions?
Yeah. Let us know what you think about these so-called experts, and what is your take on this?
That's right. So at the end of this video, look out for the email. That's how you get in touch with us.
Yeah.
Till next time.
And if you want to buy a spot, you could take turns dragging me around.
You can. You can. Next time. Hey, thanks for watching.
We hope all you YouTubers enjoyed the show.
That's right. And don't forget to reach out to us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
Peace.
Peace.